Hey, Joy Blue here, and I am looking to answer this question here on Yahoo Answers. And they're having troubles with queries, and specifically, I think it's a join issue. So they have this database that they have set up, and I'm going to set one up just like it so I can test their query and see what they're doing wrong. So they have three different tables. They have a student table, scholarships table, and a GPA table. So first I want to get me a database right here, and I'm going to get one set up. So I'm going to do a new database, and I will call this database SQL Training Online University DB. And I'll just leave everything else to its defaults here, and I'll go ahead and say OK. And now you can see I have a new university database. And there won't be any tables in it except for system tables. And so what I want to do is go ahead and create some new tables. So I'm going to set up a new query here, and I want to create those different tables. So let me go over and paste in these different tables here. Okay, so I'm going to mock this up. So create table student. Let's get this stuff formatted here. Create table scholarships. Just trying to get all the specific information in here so I can create these tables. And we need the GPA table. And get this formatted too. Okay, so now I'll format one of these tables here to kind of show you what I'm going through. So the ID, I'm pretty sure it's going to be an integer here as the primary key. And then I like to put all my commas in the fronts. And then first name, we'll just call that a varchar. And for our purposes, we'll make it just a 30 character. Same thing with last name. And address, we'll make that 100. City, we'll just make it a 30. State, 30. Zip code. Should we do that one as a varchar, or should we do it as an integer? You know, one of the things I always think about is, well, are we ever going to add these up? Are we ever going to sum them or average them? It doesn't make sense to do any of that, and it doesn't. And so it's really, I don't know, it could go either way. And so I'm just going to make it a varchar 5. And if it was an integer, it'd be a 4 byte. So there's a little bit of trade-off there, but that's what we're going to do. And on phone number, we'll go ahead and make that a varchar, let's see, 3, 3, 4, 10, 11, 12. Let's make that a varchar 12. And if I run this, I should have a table. Now if I come back over here to tables, I will go ahead and refresh this. And you can see I have a student table now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mock up the rest of these tables here, and then I'll come right back when I finish that. Okay, I'm back, and I've got this all mocked up. So a couple of things I'd like to tell you about as I was doing this. The scholarships table is pretty easy. I just put everything as a varchar, except for the ID, which is an integer. But if we come down to the GPA table, we had to make a couple decisions here. The GPA itself is a number, and what I was telling you earlier, are we going to average it? Are we going to sum it? Is it really a number? Unlike zip code, or maybe social security number, this is actually a number, so we had to make it a float or a decimal, and I just did a float. And so you got to remember, though, if you're dealing with money, you probably want to deal, you could have some rounding errors with float, so decimal might be better. And then also on this this class, there was a note here that says 4 is for seniors. So I'm assuming it's like 1, 2, 3, 4. And so we're just going to store some integers in there. And I just want to use the tiny int. Let me show you why I picked that. Over here, I'm on Microsoft site. And the tiny int will store any number from 0 to 255. And it's only 1 byte. So if you're worried about storage, you make it a tiny int. In this case, if you can use any of these, you can go small int, or big int, and normally I would just probably use an int in these scenarios. I just want to talk about that a little bit. So that's what I did. So now I have the 3 tables right here. So the next thing is to get some data in these, and a lot of times when I put data in and stuff, you can do it in many different ways. I've seen people do it in different ways. I use Excel quite a bit. So let me mock up some data, and I'll come back in just a second. Okay, so I'm back, and I've created the data. Let me show you real quick. I've got the spreadsheet here that I use to create data. I just laid out the tables and created my own fake data in there. And then I used a formula in Excel to go ahead and generate my insert statements. I did that for the student, the GPA, and the scholarships. And I'll have these available if you want to take a look at them and download them from the blog, the SQL Training Online blog. So anyway, so what I did is, so we've created these tables, and here's the insert statements to put data into the student table, insert into the GPA table, and inserts into the scholarships table. So now I'm gonna open up a new spreadsheet here, a new query, and I am going to go back over to the Yahoo answer, and I am going to grab the SQL statement the way it is that it was listed in the question. So let's toss that in there, and let's try to execute that. And it says multi-part identifier GPA.G_class could not be found. Okay, so right here we're referencing the GPA table, but you can only reference a table if it's in the from clause. So the only table in the from clause is the student table. And if we want to put 2 tables in the from clause, we have to do a join. So what we want to do is join the student table. And in this case, I will do an inner join to the GPA table. And whenever we do the join, we have to specify what columns we want them to be joined on. So we say on, and I will say student dot s_id equals to the GPA dot s_id. So now we've joined those together. One thing else to mention here, since I just created these tables, they're not showing up in the IntelliSense, so it doesn't know what the GPA object is. Let me show you a little secret on that. If I go to the edit IntelliSense and refresh local cache, then all those go away. So now it sees what the GPA table is in the student table. So, and also notice that it recognizes this. But we have a squiggly here, ambiguous column name s_id. Let's go ahead and try to run it real quick. And so the s_id column appears in both the student table and the GPA table. So the database doesn't know what we want, which of those we want. Now we know that they're the same, and I will go ahead and just grab it from the student table. And so now that will go away. Execute that, and we've got our 2 records. I'm going to go ahead and change this case just because I don't like mixing all those cases. But let's run that one more time. And so that is the answer. So that's how we join those together and get the right answer there. So I'm going to paste this back over to the Yahoo Answers, and we'll see if I get the best answer.